So when a client comes to my office, as you expressed, I always ask them to reflect on their own in life, the challenges that they had overcame. Because it's like, it doesn't matter that I survived cancer. It's like, I want you to look back at your own life and all the challenges that you confronted could not take you out. How do I know? Because you're here. If that didn't, like, you have 100% track record of being successful at overcoming challenges because you're here. If you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to come out on the other side of the challenge. And I also encourage people to remember that at the time you were confronting that particular challenge, you didn't know how you were going to come out of it. You just kept going without seeing the light, but you didn't give up. So it's not about not falling, it's about not remaining on the ground. So if you fall 7 times, you get up 8. If you are tired, you rest, you don't give up.
We spend so much energy avoiding the word survivor as if it somehow diminishes us. But what if we're missing the point? Surviving is about what happened to you. It's about who you choose to become because of it.
I see this everywhere. People who've been through trauma apologizing for their strength, minimizing their own journey, or feeling like they just need to hide their scars to be accepted.
And I watch people get stuck believing that surviving trauma automatically makes them broken. We're taught healing means getting back to normal instead of recognizing we can emerge stronger.
Sometimes we romanticize trauma or treat survivors often like they're damaged goods. Both rob people of their own agency.
So today isn't about glossing over trauma or presenting easy answers. It's about exploring how we can choose to write our own story of recovery and how that choice can create ripple effects of healing.
So today we're exploring how to honor the warrior within while navigating real healing. We'll cover a few points, including how to build resilience when you have nothing to lose, the power of starting over, why life experience is your greatest asset, and lastly, one trick to silencing your inner critic.
To help us navigate this, we have someone who transformed multiple life challenges into a mission to help others discover their own inner strength. Zulma Williams is a licensed clinical social worker, founder of Dragonfly Therapy Services, and someone who defines herself as a warrior rather than a victim.
Born and raised in Buenos Aires, Argentina, Zulma immigrated to the United States at age 31, began her bachelor's of social work at 42, and was diagnosed with breast cancer just 2 months after graduating at 46.
After earning her master's in social work at 50, she now uses her lived experience to help others with trauma, anxiety, and depression.
Having survived cancer, abusive relationships, depression, and suicidal ideation, her mission is clear: to inspire people to discover and honor the warrior inside them. Zulma, welcome to the show. Welcome to Unplugged.
Thank you so much for having me. We are going to have a lot of fun. I can tell already.
Yes, we are. Absolutely. Before we get started, I'm on a mission. If you've heard our podcast, I really want to destigmatize the human experience, #BeHuman. So this is where we start every episode, just sharing something superhuman, something that has happened that has made us feel uncomfortable, made us, honestly, really, I think any emotion on that emotions wheel, we can share those sorts of stories, bring that feeling to light. So this past weekend, my friends, they were going to old lady clubbing. I don't know if you've heard of this before, but it's clubbing that ends by 10 p.m. And they had mentioned it to me, but it didn't fully click. And then Saturday, I was texting them, what are you doing? They're like, we're going clubbing. I was like, you all didn't invite me? And I got really, really hurt in my feelings. And we had a whole fight and we talked it all out and we figured it all out. And I was like, if you have a thing, just communicate one more time, because I don't have a lot of money. I'm starting a nonprofit, all the things. So they were trying to be kind and respectful of that situation, but my feelings got hurt. And I think my takeaway from that Be Human moment was the more human I was, the easier it was for us to really resolve those problems. I think sometimes we get so caught up in the inauthentic work that we never actually resolve the problems. We just kind of dance around each other. But ultimately, my friends were oh, we're really proud of you that you like came to us, talked to us, stayed calm. We had a really adult conversation, cleared the air and moved on. And I hung out with them again last night and all is fine. But it was just one of those things where, I think we should be reminding kids and people that that's common and normal. And it's, for forever, I think, when you have friends. So
I want to say as a therapist, A++ from the therapist for addressing it, because a lot of times to not make other people uncomfortable, we are uncomfortable by not speaking up. And so somebody's going to be uncomfortable. This time it was going to be other people. So A++ from the therapist.
Thank you. And I appreciate that. It was hard and it's taken a lot of healing to get there. The other thing too is I felt like I overreacted in certain parts and was able to apologize, which I think is also another really hard skill for us as humans. And I feel like 95% of our situations that we encounter, if we were just able to say, I'm sorry, that wasn't my intention, we would have all of these problems just dissipate. I
had to do that with my kids this week.
Oh, yeah. It's an important skill to understand and utilize.
Okay, so my human moment is related to that because I'm in the process of moving. So, how stressful that is. And I put a bunch of stuff on Marketplace to have it sold. And then people are contacting me, but then they don't respond, or they say, yes, I'm going to go, and they don't show up. And I'm like so upset because I'm not like that. If I told you that I'm going to show up and
there.
Then I change my mind, I will communicate that, right? And then I was like, okay, bitch, hold on. You are personalizing. And let me get into that, because that is my human coming through is like 9 out of 10 times we get upset for shit that has nothing to do with us.
Because we've assumed about somebody else.
I don't know what those people
got going on.
So I'm taking it personal. These people don't know me. Like, bitch, like they don't fucking know you. Like, how is that personal? Right? Like, so, I mean, you're another person on Facebook, right? Like, so I was like, but they are disrespectful. And then it hit me. They are disrespectful. Not me. It has nothing to do with me. They probably do it with me. They probably do it to you. They probably do it, right? Like, they don't have the manners. What the fuck does that have to do with Zulma, right? Like, so, and then I was like, okay, take a deep breath. Is this about you? So I have a quick tip to know if we are personalizing really quick.
Yes.
Like, there is a situation, right? And you are getting upset about something, or you are angry about something. You remove yourself from the situation and you put someone else. If the situation remains the same, then it's not personal.
It's interesting because you're talking about this, taking things personal.
So you realize it's not personal, then you put yourself back in the situation, and then it's like, oh, okay. It's not about me because I don't know what you are going through. So like if I overreacted, like as you mentioned, it might be because you were going through a lot of different shit that you were not verbalizing, right? Like in any other period of your life, you were like, oh, well, shit, they forgot to invite me. And now it's like, why are you not inviting me? They fucking forgot. They thought you didn't have money, like whatever. So now, but now because you said something, next time they are going to respect the adult that you are. Like, don't fucking protect me. I'm a grown-ass woman. So fucking ask me, and if I cannot afford it, let me say that I cannot afford it. Don't make decision for me. I'm not a kid.
Yes, exactly. That's what I ended up saying. Yep.
But right. So next time, if they don't invite you, they cannot use the fucking excuse of the money because you already addressed that.
All right. So Zulma, so let's go ahead and let's start there. Having navigated immigration at 31 years old, you became a social worker. You got your degree at 42. You had a cancer diagnosis after graduating. How do you maintain the identity or identify as a warrior?
So I started my bachelor's at 42. I graduated at 46. And I was on track to do... when I was living in Argentina with my mom, I was 31, still living with her. I didn't have a job for a couple of years. And I was like, there has to be more to life than this shit. So I Coming to America was a dream from being a teenager. And I was like, I don't have a job. I don't have anything. When you have nothing to lose. So I took it as an adventure to come here, right? And then I was working in accounting and I was like, I'm not sure I want to be doing this for another 40 years. So what I really like is to help people. And I have people coming to me, strangers, telling me their deepest secrets. And I'm like, I gotta start charging for this shit. How can I start charging for this? Well, I can be a therapist, right? So I enroll in a school. And I think that it's important to know that while I was going to school and building the present time that I have right now, I was still working accounting because I still had to pay bills. I still had to eat. A lot of times we're like, oh, I need to destroy this in order to build something else. No. You can do both in parallel, right? So then I graduated. I was on track to do my master's. And 6 weeks later, I got diagnosed with breast cancer.
You're wearing a 10-year shirt. I have to ask you, you're wearing a 10-year shirt. Is this
right? No,
today?
This is, okay, don't tell anybody. It's 13. This t-shirt is 3 years old. But
no
it's
judgment.
The one that has
is
all
it the anniversary today, though? Is it an anniversary today?
No, but October is Breast Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay,
so the entire month, I either wear my ribbon or I had another t-shirt and I got I was having lunch and I wasn't being careful. I was like, I wanted that t-shirt, but this will do. But let's pretend that's a 3 there. So 13 years.
Congratulations. That's exciting.
Thank you. So I always say I had cancer. Cancer didn't have me. If anything, cancer came to show me how bad I wanted to be a therapist. Because I could have given up on my dream of doing my master's and, okay, well, I had cancer. No, I took care of my health. And then when I started feeling better and the treatment was more on a maintenance stage, I came back to America. So I moved back to Argentina to be close to my family. But then I was like, I'm going to celebrate my 50th birthday in America. So I fucking came back. And then when I came back, I enrolled in my master's program. So I was 50 when I started my master's. So when somebody comes to my office and tells me, oh, I'm too old to go to school.
Old.
Right. I'm like, motherfucker, you're working at the wrong tree. English is not my first language. I started my bachelor's at 42 and my master's at 50. Don't tell me tell me you are not disciplined or you don't want it as bad or whatever. But
or fear and stigma. I feel like fear and stigma are the biggest things that stop us from going after life at any age, right? And just being fearless and brave and just going for it.
My professors, especially when I did my master's, they loved me. And I was older than some of them. But they love older students because they know you are there because you really want to.
You really want it.
Right? I will read every fucking word in the chapter, right? I don't skim through the chapter. I get the papers done 3 weeks in advance ahead of the deadline, right? And they were like, oh my God, yeah, we'd love to have you. But the thing is that in trying to answer your question, I fucking talk too much. But in answering your question, it helps me, all those things that I just mentioned make me the warrior that I am because I could have given up at any point, right? I could have stayed in Argentina unhappy. I could have, I came here, I didn't know the language. It was a cultural shock. But then when I moved back to Argentina, it was a cultural shock to go back. I was too Americanized. My nephew always says, you are too American for us. But it's no, because I live here almost half of my life, right? So I think that going for what you want is what is the definition of being a warrior, because you can stay where you are at and happy And the shit that you are going for might not work out, but how are you going to know? And if the shit that you want to go for doesn't work out, you're back at square one. Why the fuck do you worry? But what if it does work out? Right? Like, and you are missing out on going for it because of a stigma, because of what people will say. Because like I have so many naysayers like, you are crazy. What are you doing going to school at 50? In my profession, having life experience
Matters.
is an
It does.
asset. Because
It
when
is.
you come to my office, I experience trauma. It's not like, hold on, let me go to the chapter
As a
on
mom
trauma.
with kids,
Parenting is the
who's
same
gone
thing.
through marriage crap to all the things, like if you haven't experienced life, I don't want you to help me try to get my life on track. Like I need you to have been through the shit and back yourself so you can help me go through the shit and back and come out on top.
Absolutely. And because I'm here, I'm proof that it can be done.
All right. So if you're ready, we're going to jump in. I got some questions for you here. Definitely want to hear your experience and what makes you a warrior. So hopefully some of these line up. So you came to the United States at 31 from Argentina. Obviously, there's a cultural shift involved. How did that experience of starting over, really at 31, in a new country, not knowing the language, shape your understanding of resilience or adaptation?
So when I look back, so at the time when I came in, I'm like, oh my God, like I don't speak the language. Like the first thing when I started working was I was working in a laundromat. And I was like, more slowly, please. Because like, we speak very fast in our natural, our first language. So, and I was like, if you don't fucking slow down, you're going to get the shirts how I want it, the starch how I want it, not how you want it, right? Like, so it was light starch, medium starch, or heavy starch. Like, you need to fucking slow down. So it's like, at the time, I just was doing it because I didn't think there was like a way out in a sense of like giving up. Like giving up was not on in my radar. So I was like, oh, okay, that's what you do. You go to work, you learn the language, right? Like you adapt. But looking back, I was like, oh, not everybody has that. And I think that resilience is something that can be cultivated, but you have to have at least the basis for it so that you can grow from there. Like coming from a third world country is resilient in itself because over there, the real heroes are my family and my friends who stay there, right? Because it's like you work so hard to survive. Here, I work hard. Like I didn't become a hard worker when I moved to America. I was already hardworking. But over there, it was just to fucking survive.
Make it through the day.
Right. Like here, I rented, not even buy, but I rented my own apartment. I was 31 and still living with my mom. Right. I had a car. What? Like we had one car growing up. And my dad was the only one who was going to drive it. And it was only for emergencies because we couldn't afford gas and insurance, right? Like, so the car was there in case that there was an emergency. So I come here, everybody has their own car. I used to have a teenager as where I was working. She was so offended because the dad bought a car for the mom, but not for her. I'm like, bitch, I got my first car at 33 when I moved to America. Like, you're 16, you know what I mean? Like, but also I learned that it's not the kid's fault. She didn't know any better because she wasn't exposed to that. So you grow up here and that's how things are here. So like,
is.
yeah, I want my car too, right? Like, so, and I'm like, so I think that I kind of like expanded on my resiliency, but I had it from the very beginning.
I think it shifts here. It's like all about your mindset. And I know I'm biased because undo mindset and that's the work I'm in. But, But I do think it's so much about your mindset. And even listening to you before, like when you have life's challenges and struggles, I always used to say this in the classroom as a teacher, you have two choices. Either make something amazing out of it, learn and grow from that challenge, or let it eat you alive and spiral your life, right? Like we just all have that choice in every crap that, comes before us. And, my mom, she immigrated here when she was very young and she had to be her parents' translator. And, she could have been like, this really freaking sucks. My parents don't know how to navigate this adult world. I'm a child having to help them navigate this adult world. It's a burden or whatever. Instead, she took on this is really empowering. This is helping me build my self-confidence. This is helping me immerse myself in the language and the culture in ways that are really beneficial in this certain way. And, it's all about how we take in that information or that experience and how we determine to let it either get us forward in life or slow us down. And it sounds like you have a very innate drive to always make sure any experience in your life is bringing you to a more positive experience.
Yes. And that's what I meant when I said giving up was not in my radar, because it was like, oh, this is what I had to do. Okay, I'm in a new country. I'm going to learn the language. I'm going to learn the culture, right? It's like, oh, but I did have friends who moved here and they couldn't adapt.
Didn't.
And they had to go back. So it was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a possibility. I didn't get that door open. I didn't even know there was a fucking door. So it was like, I made the decision and I'm going to make it work no matter what. Right? So then it's like, oh, so I think that's also, of course, is a mindset, because if I'm like, I'll try this, but if it doesn't work out, then I'll do this. Why the fuck are you thinking it's not going to work out? Then don't fucking try it.
You're setting yourself up for failure at the very beginning. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. So it's like, oh, okay.
We moved here when we were fairly young, my husband and I, from DC to Colorado. And it's one of those things similarly where we just we're like, we need a new start, whatever. Let's just pack up the kid. Let's go. And then you just put one foot in front of the other and you just don't even think about it. And then you look back a year or two later, we were like, whoa. Now that we're actually established and actually unpacked and have the community and support, that was a really big thing we did. But, I guess that's some of the beauty of that underdeveloped frontal lobe. When you're younger, you just kind of go and don't think,
you fucking do it,
All right, Zulma, I got another question. Kind of relates to exactly where we're at. I can only imagine that there's unique isolation being an immigrant, moving to this country.
Yep.
How did your cultural background from Argentina influence your, current approach to healing and help?
I think it was part of me growing up. That is when I came here, I learned to appreciate a lot of things that as Americans, when I became a U.S. citizen, I was studying for the test and I was quizzing all my coworkers, right? And they didn't know half of the fucking questions. So I was you need to give me your citizenship back, right? But the thing is that you take for granted shit that is not like that, right? Like growing up, you're going to have a car. As I said, we had one car and it was only for emergencies, right? So I rode the bus everywhere, right? So it was oh, so I have a car here, and I learned to appreciate a lot more the normal basic things that we have in America.
I hear gratitude, obviously resilience and grit, and life is hard. I can only imagine some clients showing up in your office being like, oh, I don't want to, I can't. And you're like, oh.
Also I would imagine too, risk taking helps in your mental health in certain ways where it's I have found in my own life where I'm like, oh my God, this is really scary. I'm going to take this risk. And then when that risk is successful and you kind of get that outcome, you get more confidence. And I think it helps your mental health in believing in yourself. Like, I set out to do this. I said there is no other alternative or option, and I freaking did it. And look, I am now independent as a woman in another country doing my fucking shit. Like, this is perfect, you know? That's empowering for your mental health. And I think that sometimes I see a lot of people like stifling themselves and cutting themselves off from doing the things that they want to do that would make them happy. And it's like, I want you to just get to that space of liberation where you know the risk is worth the reward. Sometimes it's not, and sometimes you fail, but that's part of like continuing to go down that journey and be better, do better, be more confident, more capable, and have a healthier mental health.
Absolutely. So when a client comes to my office, as you expressed, I always ask them to reflect on their own fucking life, the challenges that they had overcame. Because it's like, it doesn't matter that I survived cancer. It's like, I want you to look back at your own life and all the challenges that you confronted could not take you out. How do I know? Because you're here.
You're still here.
So if that shit didn't, like, you have 100% track record of being successful at overcoming challenges because you're here. Why is this fucking challenge different than the other million of challenges? Right? So if you keep putting one foot in front of the other, you're going to come out on the other side of the challenge. And I also encourage people to remember that at the time you were confronting that particular challenge, you didn't know how you were going to come out of it.
What you know now, yeah.
Right. You just fucking kept going without seeing the light, but you didn't give up. So it's not about not falling, it's about not remaining on the ground. So if you fall 7 times, you get up 8. If you are tired, you rest, you don't give up. Right? Like, so I'm so tired, fucking taking up. But then come back at it. Right? Because there were like, motivation. Like, I have a fucking pet peeve about motivation because you have done shit you were not motivated to do your entire life. And especially if you are parents, I heard that you both have children. I don't. But when you pop a kid, you don't tell the baby that, no, you know what, my boobs hurt, I'm not going to feed you. You fucking get up and you do it, right? When you need, your son needs something, you don't want to do it, you fucking do it. So you've been doing shit you were not motivated to do your entire life.
And I'm going to just interrupt you because I think the other thing too, again, coming back to that mindset thing is that like, if you shift your mindset about self-care is doing the things you don't want to do, but have to do and getting it done so you don't have to think about it anymore, right? Like, it's sort of like eating like the crust of your sandwich before the sandwich part, you know, like you eat the bad part first so you just get it over with, the healthy shit, and then you can have the peanut butter and jelly middle that's good, right? It's the same thing. Like, that can be self-care. Like, you still have to do it. And the more you procrastinate, the more it literally drags you down. Like, your mental health.
That's the problem with avoidance. Avoidance is so reinforcing because it feels good right now, but the payback is sure.
But in the long term, right?
The long term is a payback.
It becomes unmanageable because it's like,
and then it becomes habitual and you don't know how to break that habit. You don't even know it's a habit because it's become so habitual.
Absolutely. So I'm teaching clients grounding techniques, right? Like if they've been in a car accident, for example, and now they're anxious to drive. So I tell them, like, I teach the grounding technique and I said, your brain is not programmed to do the grounding technique. So if I ask you, so you will have to remind yourself to do it because it's not going to come natural.
Nobody else is going to remind you.
Right. But I said, like, if I ask you if you're right-handed, if I tell you, like, tonight, brush your teeth with your left hand, you're going to grab the toothbrush with your right hand because that's what you've been doing all your life. So you have to force yourself to create something new. But in the long term, so like what is so difficult right now, in the long term is going to pay it off, right? Like, so it's like going back to the question where it's like, just look back at your own challenges and realize that by not giving up, that's how you got here. Because through the darkness, you still kept putting one foot in front of the other. Because that fucking thing could not take you out. So it's like you look back at your own success at overcoming challenges. It doesn't matter what I say or what I believe, because if you don't believe it yourself, I cannot fucking get into your, like, I told my clients, like, yeah, because my therapist said, and they're like, oh, you go to therapy. I'm like, motherfucker, like, I'm human. Like, of course I go to therapy.
Well, and
they said,
I wouldn't go to a therapist that wasn't going to therapy.
Right. And do you talk about me? The last thing I do is fucking talk about you. Like, I have a whole shit ton of, you know what I mean? Like,
I've got my own baggage.
But I said, like, what should I do? What the fuck I know? I barely know what to do in my own life, let alone tell you what to do with yours. But we are going to find the answers together, right? Like, it's about asking the questions. You don't have to do it alone. But the one who is doing the work is you, not me. You are on the driver's seat. I'm the co-pilot giving directions, but if you don't move the car, we are not going anywhere.
Well, that's really tough too, because humans are innately not very self-aware. So getting them to understand that they need to look in to move the car, so to speak, is really tough. But like, again, once you get that first step going, it breaks the habit of not being self-aware or checking in with yourself or asking yourself questions. And once you kind of build that habit of being like, why do I feel this way? Why did I behave that way? What is this a trigger of, or whatever? You build a new habit. You change your mindset by building those new habits.
So I do have a question for you more as a therapist. There's something powerful about choosing to be a therapist after you've gone through, I'll say, trauma, whether that's cancer or immigration. How do you navigate the balance between professionalism, professional objectivity, and personal connection with your clients? I'm really curious about this one.
When I was in school, all throughout my bachelor of social work, my master of social work is like, you don't share your personal stuff. You had to keep the boundary. You had to. 90% of the success of therapy is the therapeutic relationship.
Psychological safety.
I'm a human first.
Oh, you said fuck. Mm-hmm. It's like, bring it on, bitch. Like, well, what are we going to talk about?
People do that in my office all the time, and they're like,
right. I do a consultation call to see where a good fit. Shit, fuck, and bitch is going to come out of my mouth. If you have a problem with that, I'm not the therapist for you.
Then we're not a good fit.
The best thing I bring to my office is my authenticity. You can tell that I'm being authentic. That's why my podcast is keeping it real, right? Because it's like, life is too fucking short. I don't have time to be sugarcoating it. If you're not ready to get better, I'm not the therapist for you, because we are going to hit the ground running. So, and that's fine. If we decide, like, you decide, like, oh, the bitch was serious, like, I'm giving you a refer. It doesn't have to be with me. I want you to get better. But it's so difficult to be like, and then be authentic. It's like,
and then have somebody tell you like their deepest, darkest secret, or like, I shit my pants. And you're like, okay, that's nice.
Oh,
like, you just
really?
can't. Like, you have to be in the muck with them in certain levels. And I want to just put a plug that if you're not interviewing your therapist, please, there's so many people who don't go to therapy consistently because they had one bad experience. And I am always like, with my current therapist I've had for years now, 5 years maybe. When I started with her, I was like, I am stubborn. I'm opinionated. I am going to push what you say. I am going to be really challenging in these ways. I'm going to curse. I'm going to be raw and real. I'm going to cry, and I was like, I need you to push back. I do not want you to just tell me what you think I want to hear. I want you to tell me how I can do better, be better, and get to a better place. And
absolutely.
My husband does the same thing. And I think, like you're saying, like, you're sometimes meant for certain people and not. But again, like, people give up on therapy before they even give it a try. And you can't say you have given it a try until you have sat there for a long time and gotten to a really psychologically safe space with a therapist that is a right fit,
I'll tell people, you don't have to love your therapist, but you can't hate them. If you hate them, that's not going to work. But you don't have to be besties.
Right. You need to be able to trust the therapist, right? Like, so I'm with my therapist, she will say shit, and I'm like, you fucking out of your mind, but I trust you. So I don't believe it right now, but you prove yourself right in the past to myself. So I had to eat this shit up for now. Like, I don't believe it. I don't believe what you're saying, but I trust you. So I will do whatever fucking homework you are suggesting because I do trust you, right? Like, so they think that trust is the basis to feel safe. And then once you feel safe, then we can really work on the shit that we need to work on. Another thing I bring into the therapeutic relationship is humor. We are going to be talking about some fucking dark shit. It doesn't have to be, oh my God. Like, I had a lady, she was an older lady, and she was in a car accident and she got trapped in the car. So the fire department came to, cut the car and take it out. So she was telling me, firefighter was holding her hand while the other ones, inside the car, while the other ones were working. Very dramatic scene, as you can tell, right? And I said, was he hot? And she paused for a second, and then she burst out laughing. I got her.
But it's actually a strategy, though.
It
like
is.
you're not giving yourself like credit, but I want to name these strategies because I think, naturally just like embed these strategies in your personality, which I do the same. But what you're really doing is actually getting somebody out of fight, flight, freeze, getting them back to that frontal lobe. You're interrupting that thought pattern that's going to make them spiral into a deep place and bringing them back to reality so they can file it away correctly in their filing cabinets more productively. And I want to just say, I laughed when you were talking before because I recently posted a meme about a newly deceased podcaster. And I'm a first responder's wife. So like we joke about like all things death because like if we don't laugh about it, we cannot, like I cannot support my husband and his mental health and he cannot continue to like hold brains together, right? And somebody was like, oh my God. And they defriended me, like all these things. And I was like, oh, that was offensive. Like it just didn't even process in my brain because like death is literally such an integral part of our lives. It just, it's just a like cultural thing for our family where we just talk about it.
So I used to do stand up and I talk about my breast cancer, right? So I'm a breast cancer survivor. And then there is this silence, right? And then I'm like, now you're looking at my boobs, huh? I'm glad I don't have hemorrhoids, right? Like, because it's
like... I'm glad I don't have hemorrhoids.
Right?
As long as we're being irreverent, I got to figure out, was the firefighter actually hot?
Oh, so she was like, well, yeah, he was cute. I'm like, girlfriend, I'm looking for a sugar daddy. Like, send him my way. You know what I mean? So, but that kind of like, as she said, like that interrupted the whole brain. Like, my God, this is so dramatic. And then we can work now because while you're in the space, then it's like, it's so difficult. But honestly, like I used to work with kids in foster care a long time ago. So the police was coming every other day. And my office was to the parking lot. So like if I see a police car, I'm like, should I put makeup on? Like, I'm like, okay, officer, so. And my supervisor was like, you need to calm the fuck down. But it's like, well, like, hello, officer, like, can I help?
You've named two things that I want to just name as well. So as a teacher, former educator, I spent 15 years in the classroom, and humor was always my go-to as well, because honestly, like kids these days experience exponentially more trauma than I think any other generation before. And I think that we need to bring humor, like you're saying, to those spaces. I also think kids it's sort of like saying curse words, and it helps them to really bring down some of their walls and build that friendship and have that trust and be able to go do that work that, maybe they wouldn't otherwise do if they didn't have that sort of friendship. But I also want to name too that like interrupting that thought process is also a strategy I would use a lot. And I immediately thought about middle schoolers and how when they would get in fights and stuff, you have to just like sit and scream. You just like are like, hey, stop, like always, so that it interrupts their thought process and it breaks up the fight. But really, anytime you have any intense emotion, right? And if you have kids that have intense emotions, maybe don't scream at them, but, helping them like touching ice, putting their head in the freezer just to get some cold.
Mindfulness.
Yeah, touching something warm, hugging like a stuffy that's been microwaved kind of thing. Anything that brings in those senses will also help kind of break up those thoughts. Even as an educator, like if a kid was really, really upset about something, I would be like, let's talk about something else. And then we'll come back because I need to get you to that frontal lobe so we can actually figure out our solution when you're not dysregulated and freaking out, right?
Let's clarify about putting the kid's head in the freezer. Like you put the entire kid and then you take the kid, right? Don't chop the head off.
Okay, I appreciate it. Head should be attached to body. Door is not closed. Just open freezer and get the cold air on your face. I appreciate you clarifying. We're not actually putting heads in freezers.
Undo Unplugged.
That's what's up.
All right, Zulma, I got one more question for you before we start to wrap up here. So if someone who's listening to this, they're completely overwhelmed by their life circumstances, can't see any of their own warrior qualities, what would you say first step toward them discovering that internal strength? What do you tell them to do first thing?
Yes, thank you for that question. So I always say, if you woke up this morning, that means that your mission in life is not complete. So just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and you're going to come out on the other side of the challenge that you're currently facing. You don't have to have all the answers in front of you in order to take action. Just don't stop. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other.
And I'm going to add one of my Erinisms that I always say is you are with yourself for forever, and treat yourself like you treat your friends, right? If your friend was like, oh, I have no positive quality about me, I have no strengths, I have nothing going for me, what would you say to them? People will come and go. I cannot stress this enough that your inner thoughts are the most powerful thing you can control. And there's so little on this planet you really can't control. But how you talk to yourself is the most beneficial work you can do as a human.
Oh, and a little trick, really quick. So if you give your inner thoughts the voice of a person who you despise, it could be a famous person, and a lot of names come to mind, but we're going to keep it. We're going to keep it. I'm going to keep it to myself. If you give your inner thoughts that person's voice, you're not going to believe it so easily. So it's a matter of a start. Oh, I'm a stupid, or I'm a failure. So you put it on that person's voice, and then it's going to be like, what you mean I'm a stupid? You motherfucker, you're stupid, right? Because now I don't like because it's coming from that person, rather than when I have it in my own voice, it's like, oh yeah, I'm stupid.
I've been doing therapy for 21 years and I've never done that. That's going in the therapy.
I just pictured my father saying the things to me, and I was like, whatever, man. You can think whatever you want.
All right. Thank you so much for being here. Like, we have clearly really enjoyed your powerful message and your energy. Like, honestly, it's been really refreshing. So
thank you for having me. And we had to do this 3 more times because we didn't even touch the surface.
But before we wrap up, I know Erin always has one more question for us. So Erin, go ahead and take it away.
So if you could impart one core belief about inner strength in everyone, like you could just bippity boppity boop it and make everyone have this ideology, what would it be?
You got this. Because you're fucking here. You've been getting it all your life. You got this too.
Mm-hmm. You've done so many things. You can keep doing it. Thank you again so much for joining us and the incredible work that you're doing and the energy that you bring to such hard, deep work. It has been truly a privilege to have you on the show. If listeners or viewers want to connect with you or learn more about Dragonfly Therapy, your work, check out your podcast, or just want to connect with you, how can they do so?
My Instagram is The Swearing Therapist, and I have my website is dragonflytherapyservices.net, and I have my own show is Keeping It Real with Zulma, The Swearing Therapist.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're so grateful for your time.
Thank you so much for having me.
And to everyone who is listening or watching, please don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on post notifications so that you never miss an episode. If you're listening on your favorite podcast directory, please leave us a 5-star rating and a review. If you have expertise in mental health, education, social justice, or just generally want to come to have a chat with Daren and I, feel free to email us at unplugged@undomindset.org with Undo Mindset in the subject line. We're always looking for voices just like yours to amplify. And don't forget, share this episode with someone who might find it helpful, somebody who's looking to hear Zulma's energy and all of her advice and tips. Getting the word out is one of the best ways in which you can really support our mission, help us grow, get mental health out as far and wide as we can. We appreciate you. Thank you so much and take care.